loves, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jasmine Summerford. I do love lifestyle, home decor, and beauty related videos. I try and post every single day. I also do a lot of recipe videos, a lot of Disney related videos, a lot of shopping hauls. If any of that sounds like something you are interested in, then definitely do not forget to subscribe. Click that red subscribe button below. That way you can be notified every time there are brand new videos here on my channel. So I am coming from my kitchen today again with another recipe video. I thought today I would show you my meatloaf recipe. I feel like meatloaf is such an underrated dish because like people talk about it but not really. But I'm actually going to be making a signature dish that my mom used to make, and I know how to make it because of her, and it is a bacon wrapped meatloaf recipe. So I'm just going to take you in the step and let you know the step-by-steps that I do, show you all my ingredients, show you the process, let you know what sides I'm going to have with it. I think I'm going to be making some mashed potatoes with it, and maybe some stuffed mushrooms. So I will show you at the end how the plate looks with everything on it. But right now, let's jump in to the meatloaf recipe. So the first thing you're gonna need for your meatloaf recipe is ground beef. I have my ground beef here. I like to season it with salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, parsley, a little bit of paprika. I also like to add some breadcrumb to the mix, add an egg, just so that everything stays nice and moist, and also it helps the breadcrumbs to stick. So definitely we'll need an egg of some sort, or if you can't do eggs, maybe add a little bit of cream or coconut milk or something to that extent, something that's gonna help your breadcrumbs stick to your meat. Then you need your bacon. You can do a bacon of your choice. Right now I am using a hickory smoked bacon. And you also need some onions. So I have like a bunch of onions cut up here, and I'm going to show you how I start my recipe. So the very first thing you want to do when making a meatloaf is season your meat. You want to get a big bowl. You want to get all your spices out. I'm starting with some sea salt. You can definitely use regular table salt if you want. And I'm also using some black peppercorns, and you can definitely use whatever pepper you have on hand. I just prefer these. I'm also going to go in with some garlic powder. You can't forget the garlic powder, and you want to coat your meat generously. That way it gets all in there. You'll see at the end I go in with my hands and kind of mix the meat up just to make sure everything is coated. Next, I'm adding some parsley. You cannot skip out on the parsley. It gives a beautiful aroma to your dish when it's in the oven. You guys can't, trust me, you guys can't skip out on the parsley. Lastly, I'm going in with some paprika, and you just want to coat the top of the meat because, again, we're going to go in with our hands after and just make sure everything is mixed up well. Next, I am cracking an egg. You only need one egg. It's really just to make sure the breadcrumb sticks to the meat and it gives a nice coating. It's kind of like when you bread meatballs. And now I am adding my breadcrumb. I'm just using some regular Italian breadcrumb that you buy at the grocery store. And I like to use my hand either my hand or just pouring it in just to add slowly to the mixture. I kind of like mix it as I'm adding the breadcrumb. That way I get the texture that I want. You want like a light kind of coat of breadcrumb over the top. That way you get a nice crunchy top layer, and it adds to the flavor of the meat. So next I am adding a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. This actually came in like in Italian order that we ordered from the other day. It was left over, so I just thought to add it to the mix as well. And I'm just mixing it up and mold. Now you want to mold your meatloaf. It should look kind of like a square, kind of. I'll show you in the, like, right before I put it in the oven what the mold should look like. But now that you have your breadcrumb, your Parmesan, your egg, everything should mold very easily. I just transferred my meatloaf over to a baking pan, and now I'm adding my bacon. So the trick to adding your bacon to the meatloaf so that it doesn't fall off is to actually wrap it like side to side, not the long way. So when you wrap it side to side, you can actually kind of wrap it completely around like I am, and the ends will kind of stick to the other side of the meat. That way when you cut it, each slice has like some juicy bacon on it. So definitely make sure to wrap it that way. I mean, I have wrapped it vertical also and it was fine, but I just find this way the bacon really sticks. That way it keeps the meat moist on top, and every time you slice it, there's a piece of bacon on it. And you want to use as much bacon as you possibly could. I used about 3 slices. I mean, this is a small meatloaf. Only my husband eats meat, so it's a smaller pack of ground beef. Obviously, if you have a larger pack of ground beef, you may want to use 5 pieces or 6 pieces. I only used 3, and it covered the entire top of the bacon. So next I am going in and I am drizzling some olive oil over the top of the meatloaf as well as around the sides, because I'm going to add my onions next and I don't want them to burn or stick to the aluminum foil here. Next, I'm taking my onions. You want to make sure you have a lot of onions. I just feel like this dish isn't really complete without the onions. So take your onions that are pre-sliced and just layer it around the meatloaf. Kind of make it look pretty. And basically those will bake in the oven with your meatloaf. And this is how the meatloaf should look right before you put it into the oven, you guys. So I basically put it in for about 350 degrees for about an hour, and then I take it out and check on it. And you just want to add a small cut or incision just to make sure that the meat is not raw in the middle. Also, I wanted to note that I did add a little bit of ketchup on the sides. I normally don't do that, but I decided to add a little bit because we had a new ketchup that was like really good from the farmer's market, and I know a lot of recipes include it. So I'm hoping it tastes okay and my husband likes it. We'll see. It's okay to try new things every now and then. So now this is ready for the oven. I'm going to put it in, like I said, 350 degrees for about an hour and then check on it. Just chopped up my potatoes. I'm going to throw this into my pot as soon as the water starts boiling. I like to cut my potatoes in like kind of like fourths because this was like a big potato. So I cut them about the same size. It's important to cut them the same size, that way they cook evenly and they're all finished at the same time. So now I'm going to take my potatoes and put them into a boiling pot of water. Make sure you salt your water beforehand. The key to getting really good, flavorful mashed potatoes is to not skimp out on the salt. They say when you're making pasta and potatoes, your water that you boil everything in should be as salty as the ocean. I heard it somewhere. I don't remember where, but I think it was like a cooking show or something. But your water should be as salty as like salt water. So I definitely tried to generously season my water, and now I'm going to put these in. Okay, so I just drained my potatoes, they're ready. So I added some salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of parsley, some butter, some cream, and now I'm going to mash my potatoes up. Be sure to combine all these ingredients and always taste before you actually say you're finished. You always gotta taste it, make sure it's got enough salt, enough pepper, enough seasoning. And by the way, these potatoes took about say 40 minutes to like soften. So about 40 minutes boiling. You can also use one of those hand blenders. Those get your potatoes super creamy and super mashed up if you have one, but I actually don't have one in this house. I have one in my house upstate, so just using what I could. Have this in a bowl that has a lid so that they stay nice and warm. So this is about halfway through. As you can see, my bacon secreted a lot of juices and my onions look really good. It looks really good. It's definitely on the right path. You want it to like kind of have all that juice at the bottom. Maybe like 20 or 30 more minutes and it should be done. So I'll definitely show you guys the finished plate once I am finished. So for my stuffed mushrooms, I just seasoned them with some sea salt. I also used some garlic powder. I also used some pepper. Oopsie. And I used some parsley. And basically that's it. Now I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it over the top of them. Like so, just so that they don't stick to the pan. Next, I'm going to take some breadcrumbs. And I am going to add it inside the little, I guess, ditch here. I'm going to sprinkle it inside there. The goal is to make the top nice and crunchy. Nice crunchy bite. And the way you get your mushrooms nice and crunchy and not soft and soggy is by cooking them at a high heat. So we're gonna put these bad boys in 400 degrees for about 40 minutes until the breadcrumb is golden, kind of crusty brown, and you can tell because it'll get kind of toasty. Next, I'm going to add some balsamic vinegar over the top. Kind of just sprinkled over like so. I am running low on this stuff. Like that. And we're going to toss them in the oven. And this is the finished plate, you guys. As you can see, it looks really delicious. My portobello mushrooms are all crisp and ready to go. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, do not forget to subscribe. That way you can be notified every time there are brand new videos here on my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.